Okay, this is my audience. Everyone say hi.
Hi.
Okay. All right. My topic is dyslexia. Dyslexia is a very personal topic for me, and that is due to mainly my son Jacob, who is now 14, was diagnosed when he was in second grade with dyslexia. There's a lot of misconceptions about this disorder. Well, first let me give you a brief history about Jacob. He was diagnosed when he was in second grade with dyslexia, but prior to that he was 2, and well, first off, he had a normal birth weight. He learned to crawl and walk at an average age. He ate wonderfully. He was just a big, active, fun-loving little boy. When he turned 2, we all noticed that his development wasn't quite the same as as far as speech. He stuttered his words. He wasn't really able to enunciate his words quite clearly. So we were kind of encouraged to enroll him in preschool, which we did at the age of 2. We put him in preschool, and also with the encouragement of friends, they thought it would be helpful with Jacob being born into a large family. He would know, he would enable him to express himself without being, I guess, mulled over by his siblings, which a lot of people felt like he wasn't giving a fair chance to speak. So anyway, we enrolled him into preschool at the age of 2. About 2 weeks later, his preschool teacher suggested that he undergo some speech therapy. We enrolled him into some speech classes, and that started all the testing. So we had speech testing, we had psychological testing, we had hearing testing. For the next year, he was tested like crazy. So they never did decide what was wrong with him. They couldn't really figure it out. However, they kept thinking that because he was born in a large family, he wasn't given the opportunity to speak, and everyone was speaking for him, which wasn't true. So he went through his 2s and his 3s and his 4 years of preschool, and still we hadn't advanced very much. He stayed the same. He learned basically nothing, and he started to get a little withdrawn. He entered kindergarten, and once he entered kindergarten, that was a new series of testing started. He was tested again for psychological disabilities, behavioral disabilities, you name it, he was tested for it. So he was put in speech class in a public school, and the teachers really weren't too sure how to work with Jacob. He just was not progressing. Instead, they mainly focused on behavioral aspects. Although he did not have a behavioral problem, he was actually withdrawing from socialization. He was very quiet. He wasn't outgoing at school. He was very sheltered. So they pulled him out of the classroom setting and did the one-on-one. Instead of mainstreaming, they did one-on-one teaching, which really was not working. My husband then was being transferred to a different location, and from there to a totally different district, different area within the state. And it was fortunate for us, we were able to get him and his siblings into a charter school. When we placed him in the charter school, they did further testing and realized this kid could not talk. Not necessarily talk, but he could not read. He did not know his alphabet. He did not know letters. So they started from the beginning with the testing. And he had one teacher that said, all we're going to do is focus on speaking and reading. He needs to learn the concepts, the vowels, the sounds, just letter recognition. He knew no alphabet. So along with his second grade teacher and the school psychologist, for 1 year, that's all they focused on. And after some testing, again, they finally determined that Jacob had a Not mild, not severe, but a middle ground form of dyslexia. I was always under the impression that dyslexia was reading backwards, seeing everything backwards. Well, unbeknownst to me, that is not true. Dyslexia comes in different forms, different stages, different degrees, different levels. And a lot of the symptoms now, if I had researched it, I would have known, but this is what we're facing. Now, why the teachers couldn't see that before, and all the specialists that he had seen before didn't see it, I don't know. But all I know is we had a teacher that cared enough, and the school psychologist. So they worked with Jacob, and by the end of the second grade year, Jacob was reading on a second grade level. At the third grade year, they started him with reading and math. And then the fourth and fifth grade year, they did some social studies. They incorporated language and science. So by the time he graduated fifth grade, he was reading, writing, doing math, comprehending, everything on the level that he should read. Now, that's not to say he still doesn't have struggles, because he does. Here he is now 14, and his struggles still continue, and they probably always will. The thing is there's a lot of misconceptions with dyslexia. A lot of people believe that dyslexia is not linked to intelligence, but in fact, many dyslexic children are highly intelligent. One, they have to work way harder than the average person to comprehend. He has to work 10 times harder than I do to understand. So when he gets the concept, he's way above me. It's kind of interesting to see him learn, but they're very intelligent, and most children that are dyslexic that get the proper help, get the proper education, finish college. Dyslexia is genetic. If mom and dad have dyslexia, or one of them has dyslexia, the more than likely the child's going to have dyslexia, which is true. It runs in the family, and my son has it. So it's a fact. It's just the way it is. Dyslexic children have behavioral issues. They do not. My son was very quiet. He was very to himself. He kept to himself. I'm sure there are children that are very disruptive, but not all of them are. It's not a behavioral issue. You actually may act out because you're frustrated with yourself, but it's not because of behavior. It's just you want to be like everybody else. It's that simple. You just want to be like everyone else. So, dyslexia is just a form, it's just a condition, but with proper education, a child can still succeed. Thank you.